This video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another Farming Simulator 22 map first impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Baranyamap. But before that, this video is brought to you by Viking Hammer 73 and Dozer. Thank you for being farm barons. So the Baranyamap, which according to Google Translate, translates to sheep map, can be found over at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu. And as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Let me read you some of the description. Welcome to Baranya Farm. This map is based in Hungary. This is a replica of a real-life environment with real PDA, unique lighting with blue skies and darker nights. This map has animated birds flying over the map, 10 fields with missions small to medium size, 2 meadows. This map also includes the 100 Elm Creek collectibles. Hungarian license plates have been integrated into the map. Original grass textures. Now we're going to have to take a look at the various plant textures because if I remember right, when I looked at these, they looked like standard textures, but we'll have to take a look. Tons of unique sounds. Bale cell, milk cell point, organic fertilizer, and slurry available for purchase. Cows, sheep, chickens, and pigs, including selling of eggs and wool in the village. Seed station, 2 sell points where all grains can be sold. Automatic bale storage, organic and slurry storage for cows. 3 silos, and the map includes traffic. Now, this map does include several required mods. So in addition to the mods we typically use when taking a look at maps, which is additional field info, additional game settings, field lease, field calculator, and precision farming, we're also going to be using the biogas plant 150 kilowatt, as well as the container with vehicle workshop, cow shed 42 by 22, crop storage pack, garage with sliding doors, metal shed, old fuel stations pack with small chicken coops, seed and fertilizer production, and small brick house. Now, we'll tell you, if you load this map up in farm manager mode or start from scratch, you will find that all of the farms are built out exactly how you see them here in new farmer mode, with the exception of you do not own any land, nor do you own any vehicles in those alternate play modes. Now here we are loaded up into new farm mode, and we start here at what would be our starting farm. But oddly enough, when we go and take a look at the PDA, and then if we take a look at our lands area, you'll see that we do not own the actual starting farm. So this is where we are. This is where all of our starting machinery is, but we do not own that at the start. So if you were to buy the original farm at farmland ID 13, we'll have to pay $20,850. Now, we do start by owning 3 fields of Farmland ID 3, Farmland ID 6, and Farmland ID 11. Now, in addition to the main starting farm, which is kind of an arable farm at Farmland ID 13, there is a pig farm at Farmland ID 14 for $48,888. There is a cow farm at Farmland ID 12, $16,448. At Farmland ID 18, we have the sheep farm for $13,884. And then at Farmland ID 23, we have a chicken coop for $4,857. Let's go ahead and take a look at our farmland lease screen. The farmland lease screen shows all of the viable farmlands, how large those farmlands are, if those farmlands include any fields, what fields are included, then lastly, how much is that farmland going to cost us. And then cross-reference the field calculator screen, and this is going to show us the specific sizes of each particular field. As you can see, we own field 2, 6, and 10. They are 6, 5.71, and 4.77 hectares, respectively. This map does include the standard base game crop counter available to us in Farm Sim 22. And if we take a look at our prices screen, you will see that we do have the ability to sell most, but not all of our base game crops. In fact, we are missing the ability to sell our grapes and olives. Now, once we move down here to our animal areas, while we do have chickens on the map, we do not have the ability to sell our eggs at this point in time. You will need to put down your own sell point in order to do anything with the chickens that are included in the map. We do have the ability to sell our wool and milk, which is always good to see. And as far as our silage, hay, straw, and grass, we're covered there. Now, when we move down here to our production areas, well, things are going to change a lot. We do not have the ability to sell any base game production aside from butter and cheese. Those are the only two production items that we can sell. All of the other base game productions are not available for sale, which is kind of ironic because we do have a spinnery on this map. So we will have the ability to make fabric, but we cannot get rid of it unless we put our own sell point down. We do not have the ability to buy bulk lime, and we do not have the ability to get rid of our stones. So if we are playing with stones enabled, we will need to put down our own stone sell point. As far as our platinum expansion goes, well, the story continues as we might expect, where we do not have the ability to sell any of the platinum expansion items either. Lastly, if you are playing with pumps and hoses, you do have the ability to get rid of your separated manure. Start out with a very modest list of starting equipment is all new. None of it is leased. We do have several cows or several animal areas, as I mentioned on the map. They do not have any animals in them. We do have contracts available. We own a seed and fertilizer factory at the start, and that particular factory is going to be able to make seed out of wheat, barley, oat, as well as the ability to, so we're making wheat, barley, and oat, and we can use liquid fertilizer and slurry for those things. Then we can make solid fertilizer out of manure and water. In addition, we do have our 100 Elm Creek collectibles, as I mentioned. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting fleet. We start out with the John Deere 7230R as well as the 7810 medium tractors. We've got the Kloss Tryon 720 harvester that is paired up with the ConviFlex 1080 grain header. We have our 1986 pickup. We have our Brantner TA 23071 Power Push Plus trailer. We have the Horse Joker 4 CT disc harrow. We have a Nordstein HK 25 NS 3030 seeder. We have a 750 kilogram front weight, as well as a header trailer. As far as our custom vehicles and implements, we do not have any custom vehicles or implements with this map, but we do have the the seed and fertilizer production, which does include the ability to buy a pallet of liquid fertilizer. There's also nothing leased on this particular map. Let's go ahead and take a look at our build mode. And since we have quite a extensive list of required mods, we're going to find that we do have a fair bit of buildings and such that are available for us to pre-place on the map. We take a look down through our productions. Do have a couple custom productions that are part of the map, as well as a part of the required mods. We have an egg sell point. And actually, the egg sell point, is going to be butter, milk, and cheese, but not eggs, which is kind of odd. That would be called an egg sell point, but not actually buy eggs. Base game, greenhouse, orchards, and generators. We do, of course, have modified animal pens because they are either required mods or included with the map. And if we take a look at our ground textures, fairly standard minimal ground textures, and our plants. The description did say original grass textures, but we do not have grass textures that we can paint that are different from the base game. Now, as far as our starting farm here, again, we do not own the land. If we buy the land, we may have slightly different results with respect to selling selling buildings. I don't think we're going to have too significant of changes here. We have the ability to sell these two sheds right here. We have the ability to sell our farm silo, which is this big structure located right here. But that's it. Nothing else on this map, on this farm can be sold. And first I want to kind of point out, what kind of parking job is that? That looks like something the Mayhem crew would do. We have our farm silo, as I mentioned. Where we have our fill pipe. And then around the corner we have our dump point. And once again, we have those 100 Elm Creek collectibles. Now, as far as farms being customizable, we're going to give the map a quarter of a point because the vast majority of all of the farm areas are not customizable whatsoever. A large portion of these buildings are permanently a part of the map. A large portion of the deco elements around these various farms are also a permanent part of the map. This wall that surrounds this particular farm is a permanent part of the map as well. Let's go ahead and take a look and see how the custom soil map is being applied to these fields. As you can see, the vast majority of these fields are going to be composed of at least 2 to 3 different types of soil between silty clay loam and sandy loam. Let's go ahead and take to the skies and we'll do a little bit of a look around from above. This is a smaller than standard size map. I would probably put this map at just under kind of a half of a size of a map. We've got 2 little towns here. One just to the east of the starting farm area. Then we have a town down to the southwest. And then a large portion of the middle of the map is occupied by this big green lake. Now, once you own the main starting farm, which is located down here, we're going to have our farmhouse, which is going to appear over here, kind of right across the street. So we do have our sleep trigger there. The sleep trigger does not pop up until you actually buy the farm here. And then to the north and the northwest of the farm, we have a grain sell point located below. Then we have our vehicle shop also up here. To the south of that, we have our pig farm. And continuing on with basically the farms being customizable. Here at the pig farm, there is a small biogas plant. It's just located right there. We're going to take a closer look at that during the drive around. Then we have our sheep barn right here. And then we have a manure heap. The only things that can be sold here are those 3 things that I pointed out. Everything else, including the 2 silage bunkers, they are permanently a part of the map. Just south of Field 5, we have the sheep area. Right there. And then coming down here to the southern part of the map, we have our second village. So as far as our scoring metrics go, we're giving the map a full point with respect to production being built in or areas set aside for such, because we do have 3 production items built into the map. We have a spinnery, we have a BGA, and we have the seed and fertilizer production. So here we have our chicken coop. We have our milk sell point. We have our animal dealer, as well as the ability to buy manure and slurry. Now, with respect to the ability to sell our base game crops, animal outputs, and production items, there are quite a bit of things that you cannot sell on this map without putting your own sell point down, including eggs and fabric. Both of those are producible because we do have chickens on the map and we do have a spinnery. So we are going to be giving the map a half a point with respect to the ability to sell our base game crops, animal outputs, and production items. Here we have the cow farm, which includes a bale sell point, a manure heap, and a slurry storage point. We have our seed and fertilizer production. We have a bale sell point there. And then in town, we have sell point for our root crops and grain. Here we have our spinnery. Then we have an egg buy point that does not buy eggs. Remember, it only buys milk, butter, and cheese. Then this is going to be, trying to recall from memory, this is going to be agro search. So this is also going to be a buy point or a sell point for various products. Let's go ahead and make our way back up to the vehicle dealer. Buildings where appropriate are using new texture unique as well as ground textures. We're going to be giving the map a half a point here because a vast majority, and quite frankly, that might be a little over scored as well. A vast majority of the textures on this map are flat and fairly old, fairly low res, and they really do stand out compared to the higher res textures that we have just adjacent to those. So here, for example, we have our concrete barricades. We have our wonderful ground textures, and then we move right up here into our concrete. And that continues throughout the map. So at this point in time with FS22, especially with these custom productions and custom farm buildings, I gotta think that there's just gotta be plenty of nice high-res buildings out there that we really should be able to use those as opposed to these old textures that really need to be retired. So here we have our Mahindra. Let's go and see where our vehicles spawn in at. Fairly large area for our vehicles to spawn in. So we shouldn't have too much difficulty in basically picking up a lot of machinery or fairly large machinery. Now, given the size of this map, I don't think we're really going to be doing a whole lot of mega farming with really big machines. So we shouldn't have too much of an issue with that. Here we have our dealer trigger. Clearly marked out with our corner markers. So we'll be able to buy, sell, trade, repaint, and customize all of our items. And let's go ahead and head on out. Like I said, we have a grain sell point located right here. Fairly narrow exit out of this shop area, so you will be somewhat limited by the size of things that you can buy based on that alone. Kind of a low res road texture. Kind of moving on again with that whole ground textures and building textures using the new texturing technique. As we make our way down the main road here, we're going to be coming up to our starting farm over here on the left. See that over there? It means we're going to have our farmhouse over here on the right. Which is located right there. Quick little turn, and we have our cow area. So here we have our bale storage. FS22 bale storage. We have our manure heap for our cows. And then for our cow building itself, it's going to be located right here. Let's open up a few doors. That is really slow, so be cautious about that. I have gone ahead and bought all of the animal areas. So 104 cows available in this building. So we have our food and straw inside of here. We have our milk point as well. Here we have some vehicle implement storage. Some more storage. And then we have our slurry storage point. I guess let's double back to town a little bit here. We have our entrance to a farm here on our left. This is going to be our seed and fertilizer production, so we have our interactive icon. We have our pallet spawn point and our fill point here for seed and fertilizer, and then we have our dump point for our products. Across the street from that, we have a Bale sell point up here. Just below that, we have a fuel point. So we have our diesel fuel. Then we have a flurry of things going on in this little village. We have root crop sell points here and here. We have a maintenance shed. This is going to be the egg sell point that does not accept eggs. Here we have another grain sell point. And then we have our spinnery, which is located right here. So we have an interactive icon. We have our pallet spawn point right there. And then our dump point for our wool. But again, we're going to have to put down our own sell point to sell our fabric. Or if we wish to progress that fabric into clothing, we're going to have to put down our own tailor and our own sell point to get rid of the clothing. Now, let's see if we can't find our way over here to our pig area. So I'm trying to look here and see. I'm not sure if I know how to get over to the pig area. Maybe it's this road right here. I visited all these areas kind of just flying around the map. This looks promising. With collectibles along the way. Yes, this is very promising. So I'm guessing this custom grass texture is that we have these little blue and red flowers in here, maybe? But it would be nice to have that paintability to paint those down. So this is the pig farm, and at the pig farm we have a small biogas plant. that comes. So we have our pickup point for our digestate. Our interactive icon, we have our dump point for our slurry and our digester there. We have 2 silage bunkers, one there and then one right here. And then we have our pig area itself. We have our food trough. We have our manure heap. Then we have our slurry point along the side of the building. And then we have our pig buy point. 108 pigs for this area. Now we'll double back on this long lane. And as we make our way down the long lane, let's talk about our scoring. Again, we give the map a full point on our production. Being built in, our areas set aside for such a half a point. 0.5 for our ability to sell our base game crops, animal outputs, and productions, because we are missing grapes, olives, and then basically all productions other than butter and cheese. We're going to map a quarter of a point with respect to the farms being customizable, because for the most part the farms are not that customizable. The animal areas can be sold. A few other items associated with the animal areas can be sold. The main starting farm, we can sell 2 sheds and a silo, but everything else on the map is going to be built in. Buildings where appropriate are using the new texturing technique. For the most part, they are not using the new texturing technique, and they really do stand out as a result. When you get up close to these, they just do not stand up whatsoever compared to the beautiful buildings that you see at other maps. So we are going to be giving the map just half a point there as well. Here we have our wool spawn point. We have our sheep drop-off point, 250 sheep in this building. Then around the side we have our water, and we have our food. Then we'll make our way down to the southern little village where we have the rest of our triggers located, including our chicken coop. So we have our chicken coop right here. So we have our egg point, we have our food point, and then 40 chickens in total. But you see this building is well textured. Right? Looks really well done. Nice grain and wood pattern, and then you come over here. And, well, it just all falls apart. Right beside the chicken area, we have our milk buy point. Located right here. And then down from that, we have our animal dealer. With our animal dealer trigger here. As well as a buy point for manure for us to purchase manure, and a buy point for us to purchase slurry. Now, the last scoring metric, player interactive areas being clearly marked. I'm going to be giving the map 3/4 of a point there as well, because we are missing for the most part those yellow and black corner markers. I do like to see those even if we have the blue floating icons. So overall, that's going to give this map a score of 3 out of 5. What this map could do to improve its score is to kind of swap out the buildings and go with some nicer quality buildings. There has got to be some nice Eastern European style buildings already in the Giants mod hub. We've seen Polish maps, we've seen other maps using those types of buildings, so I would really like to see the map incorporate those as well, fixing it so we don't have such a massive gap in what you can sell on this map as far as your base game props and production items, and correcting the fact that we have eggs, we have chickens, but we can't sell the eggs. We have a spinnery, but we can't sell the fabric. Seems like a pretty big oversight there as well. Let me know, guys, what you all think down in the comments below. And until next time, happy farming.